Anderson heaving one down the sideline, and he's got Cass Allen over the top. Big side, down the sideline. Touchdown. His signature move and his signature performance. Allen deep ball one more time. 58 yards this time.
You're listening to the Bruin Bible. This is your host, Will Decker, bringing you UCLA football content all throughout the year for LA Football Network.
What is up, LAFB fans? Will Decker, your host from the Bruin Bible, and draft is in session. We are here to talk about Bet Online and the good people behind the brand. Football season is officially back, and Bet Online remains your number one source for all your football betting needs this season. You'll find the latest odds, matchup info, player needs, and game trends. And as your continued source for all sports wagering info, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, live scores, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet all of your favorite sports and events like MLB, MMA, tennis, boxing, and even golf. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 100% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use promo code LAFB to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. What is up, and welcome back to the Bruin Bible. Will Decker, your host, and your co-host, Jamal Madni, on as always. It has been such a blast thus far this year for UCLA fans. 6-0, we've kind of reached the midway point of the season. Had a little bye week last week, so thank you guys for giving us some time off in between now. We had a buddy come into town last week, and then we kind of had to show him the ropes in Los Angeles. But now we're back to the important stuff. We're about to talk in football, and we will have an Oregon game preview this week, so make sure to tune in for that. Guest yet to be determined, but I do have a guy who can maybe come on that is a surprise guest. Let's just say he's got a huge following on Twitter, and UCLA fans are going to love him. Madman, how are you doing on this not only football week, big game Oregon on Saturday, but your Lakers are playing my Warriors at this very moment?
Well, feeling good, Will. It can't complain. We got a bye week, getting into game week. What a game this is going to be this week. And then, of course, NBA season starts with the Lakers and the Warriors. So all that means is in 2 hours, you're going to be rejoicing in the streets, and I'm going to be crying myself to sleep.
We'll see about that, man. I think the Lakers are going to be better than advertised given what they've got in the bag there. But also playoff baseball is going on as we speak. Los Angeles, you might want to turn off for that part. But it has been it's the best time of the year for the sports fans, man. We got everything rolling. Basketball season now underway, like you said. Baseball at their finest. Playoff baseball is very enjoyable to watch. But with sports season at their finest, I thought we'd bring our podcast to our finest. If anyone has listened to the show over the years, they know that we are two huge movie heads, and we're constantly quoting lines from different movies, different TV shows, keeping the pop culture references at an all-time high, so to speak. We have 6 very important figures for UCLA this year. Chip Kelly. We got Dorian Thompson-Robinson. We got Zach Charbonnet. We got Jake Bobo. We got Latu, and we got the Murphy twins, some badass mofos out there on the edge that are banshees coming out. And we wanted to play a game. We want to describe these guys' seasons and their successes so far with movie quotes that align to the way they play. And this was such a fun exercise. I texted Madman about this last week. We've come up with some great ideas on how to pitch to these guys. And, I think it's going to be really fun. How much effort and prep did you put into this, Madman?
Thriller, I put some thought into it. I'm a big movie buff. I love quoting lines, as you know, as we both do. So, wanted to have some fun with this one. And, there's some direct movie quotes, and then there's some redactions, that fit our scenario off of those great movies. So I'm excited.
I love it, man. And I think we're going to start with Chip Kelly. And I'm going to give you the floor. The man has gone through the ringer, his previous three and a half seasons, if you will. The train started to turn around October 30th of last year after that Utah game. We've got on a 9-game win streak. Give me a movie quote that best fits what Chip Kelly has been up to thus far in 2022.
Yeah, Thriller, it's when you think of Chip Kelly, you think of a cerebral guy, right? As a guy who is a strategist, he's a thinker. it's all about the X's and O's and the creativity through that. And there's one movie that's one of my all-time favorites that captures sort of the mathematician's, sense, and that's Good Will Hunting. And so for me, for Chip Kelly, it's when Matt Damon is talking to his girlfriend and he says, I can't play the piano for a lick. I can't hit the ball out of Fenway. But when it came to things like that, I could just play. And when he was talking about the things like that was the math, the biology, the complex equations, all of those things. And that was the best way he could describe himself in terms of how his mind worked. And I thought that's so fitting as a description with Chip Kelly, because he could always just play call. And that's what he was able to do at Oregon to enormous success. He revolutionized modern college football, and seemingly people forgot about that ability. And now this season has revealed what never was lost with Chip Kelly, but now the whole nation and the country can see it rise once again. And so for me, Chip is my Good Will Hunting all day, every day.
Wow. And just to start this podcast off with a classic like Good Will Hunting and just the clashing acting performances that Matt Damon and Robin Williams, I mean, that is the best performance I can remember from Robin Williams. The humanity, the depth, just how he approached that role. I mean, I just get chills thinking about, him sitting at the lake and breaking it down. You don't know jack shit, kid, when he's talking to him on the bench, and the Fenway scene where he's breaking it down. So I love that quote.
In the words of Robin Williams, Thriller, to hand it over to you for this, your move, Chief.
My move, Chief, indeed. And a great first selection for that. I'm actually going to go with a classic as well. And the quote that I picked for Chip Kelly, not a comedy. I was expecting a lot more comedic quotes, and we do have some in the works for that, which I'm excited about. I had to quote The Godfather. It's revenge is a dish best served cold. Because with Chip Kelly, you have to remember, this guy about a decade ago was the hottest coaching candidate coming out of college, period. Everyone wanted this guy. The Eagles paid upwards of $20 to $30 million to get this guy from Oregon to come in. Run down in Philly after a solid, opening couple of years. Went to San Francisco, was a train wreck. And then comes to UCLA. In his first 4 seasons, he's 18-25. It's not looking good. The alumni want him out of there. Kind of a prickly guy in general, and he just has never been – hug, buddy with the media. But this year, and, like we said, the win streak dating back to last year, 9 straight wins. And he's just doing, the play calling is just at an all-time high. We can go on and on about some of these calls he made against Utah. The Logan Loya little screen pass, just drawing it up. This guy is a wizard when it comes to the offensive play calling. And the greatest thing is Chip Kelly's the it coach again. The college world wants to embrace him again. He's on Cowherd. He's on Jim Rome. And he's still got that prickly. He's like, I don't care if you guys think I'm cool. This is who I am. And I just thought that the quote was so fitting because it's a redemption story. It's a guy coming back. And, revenge is a dish best served cold. This is to his doubters, to his haters. We have long been, fans of Chip Kelly and making him the UCLA coach. And he's proving it this year. Just, 6-0, ranked in the top 10, averaging 41.5 points a game. And the biggest thing is the defense. The defense, 40th in the country in total defense through 6 games. That number is insane for UCLA when you really break it down. And, 28th in the country in fewest yards per play at 4.88. Chip Kelly has been this guy, and he's proven his doubters wrong. I had to go with the Godfather quote.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. It's so fitting. And I'm so happy for Chip in terms of, you mentioned kind of the national tour and him being on, Colin Cowherd's show and him being with Rome and with Joel Klatt and some of these others. And I feel like over the last 8 days, I've heard the Chip Kelly, I was golfing with Ryan Day when the Big Ten call came like 7 times, so it's been really fun to see that quirky side of Chip come out a little bit with the media and getting that exposure for UCLA. And that's often the case of letting the recruiting sell itself through these media appearances, through that quirky personality, so he doesn't have to do it directly, which is obviously something he's a little bit uncomfortable doing historically.
It's almost like those talk shows where, like, the late night shows where they have the same story where it's like, I talked to Tom Cruise once and he came over to our house. It's Chip. That's his version of that on late night where it's like, I was golfing with Ryan Day and it came out. It's probably the only story he has that he's willing to share that's anyone remotely, interesting to the audience. We got to love Chip. We are one down on the movie quotes and we nailed two, classics, if you will. Madman, I am going to give you Dorian Thompson-Robinson next. DTR, a lot of different ways we can go with this. I'm excited to hear your take. DTR, what is the movie quote, in your opinion, that best fits where DTR is right now?
So, DTR is obviously a very interesting guy. You could have taken this a number of different ways. He's fire and ice in a lot of ways. He plays with an edge, but he's got a great personality. Leadership has been a bit of a growth. But when I will think of DTR, even after this season and looking back, the first thing I'm going to think of are the iconic plays, right? And the things that he has done against USC, against Washington, the great comeback against Washington State, just these incredible plays. And so I got to go to my roots, Thriller, and I got to go. It has to be fitting because he had such a signature performance against USC that I have to go comedy, and I have to go comedy with the USC superfan, which is Talladega Nights Ricky Bobby, where Will Ferrell turns and says, "Shake and bake, that just happened." And that to me is DTR in a nutshell, between the hurdle, between the sidestepping and the Washington guys colliding, between tackling the D tackle off his interception, between the autograph, between all of these different phenomenal moves, shaking and baking his way to highlights, and that just happened.
Oh my gosh. It's crazy to admit this. I have a Will Ferrell quote too when it comes to our guy DTR. And to be honest, I thought you were going to take it because you let off with the fire and ice. So my quote is from Blades of Glory, and it's kind of another redemption story. And this is the quote from Will Ferrell. He goes, "They laughed at Louis Armstrong when he said he was going to the moon. Louis Armstrong is looking down on those people laughing at them now." And it's one of those quotes where you can just put on Blades of Glory and you forget how funny it is. And
no doubt.
It shows, the college football world, just not a lot of believers in DTR even coming into this year. And, we've even had moments where we doubted DTR on this very show. But the stat that really blew me away, and this is from our guy Sam Connon, dating back to October 30th, the game he missed where they lost to Utah last year, 9-game win streak, 29 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions, 73.2% completion rate. He has been outstanding in a way that we have not seen a UCLA quarterback in a long time. And there's a reason this guy is a top 3 Heisman candidate right now. And he's just doing things. He's second in the country in completion percentage. Do you remember a time where we'd be excited if Dorian was going to finish at 60% flat on the year? Just the bare minimum we were looking for that. The runs you're talking about, the hurdle he had again against Washington, the shake and bake play. I think we have to, make that the play name where he juked the 2 defenders. They went into each other, just sidestepped into the end zone. It looked like Lamar Jackson, highlight tape. It was unbelievable. DTR is just doing his thing right now. And it's the play calling with the comfortability level that he has. It's Chip and him just knowing each other and putting it out on the field. And it has been a beautiful, beautiful result thus far. And I'm just,
you said it right there, is obviously the stats are incredible and you laid them out so beautifully, 9-game winning streak. But to me, his performance is emblematic of synergy between coach and quarterback. And there's no 2 coach-quarterback connection right now that I think is on the same page the way Chip and DTR are together. You can make the argument a little bit with Josh Heupel and Hooker at Tennessee, but I think that's the only other kind of coach-quarterback combination. Even Lincoln Riley and Caleb, even Nick Saban and Bryce Young, even Ryan Day and CJ Stroud, I don't think they have that bond, that chemistry, that connection the way DTR and Chip does. And his statistics are really a product of really 2 coaches on the field right now that are in perfect unison and lockstep. Completion percentage, Will, is a function of decision making. It's a function of decisiveness, And it's a function of preparation, of knowing where your guys are going to be, as well as how the defense is going to respond to your guys. And the fact that he has gone from a perennial first 3-4 years of high 50%, then low 60%, and now all the way to 72 is really a testament to all of those things. And so that's been the beautiful story. And now here we are, a third consecutive top 15 game. And I'm telling you, Will, I've said it, I've been banging this drum. If they go 3-0 and he puts another great performance together, he is unquestionably the Heisman frontrunner to me going into November.
And we love to hear it. I know stats don't tell the entire story, but the last 2 games, 2 top 15 ranked opponents, 7 touchdowns, had 1 interception. It was just kind of a throwaway at the end of the game, averaging over 300 yards of total offense, 72% completion rate. He has been outstanding, to say the least. DTR, you heard it here first, folks. He's going to be the Heisman frontrunner if he beats the Ducks this weekend at Outson. Next guy we got, and, you know, I got to see our guy last night, Dulcich, get his first NFL touchdown. How fitting is that for somebody on the Bible? I mean, Rye or Die and I were both there, and we were that's 2 of the 3 conductors of the Dulcich train last year. And it's crazy to me that I might even like this guy more than Zach Charbonnet. But when you just throw on the tape, this guy is fantastic and everything he's doing. Charbonnet, where are you going with this madman? You got a Will Ferrell quote. You got Goodwill Hunting. I don't even know where to go next with this. So leave me.
Obviously, and you have so aptly named him the Terminator, Zach Attack. We love him. We love the physicality. We love the way he finishes runs. We love the way he lays out defenders. And I think what's so marvelous about him is a man of his power, his frame, the quickness of feet, the agility of the hips, the fact that he can make inside-out moves, the fact that he can burst down the sideline and have a sneaky explosiveness that people don't realize. But his bread and butter is that physicality and finishing runs and just knocking guys out and knocking them back from behind their positions and really emphasizing his will on a run-by-run basis. And I got to go back to one of my great quotes and one of my favorite movies. And one of my favorite movies of all time, Thriller, is Wedding Crashers. And I love Vince Vaughn and I love Owen Wilson. Those 2 guys have a very special place in my heart. And I have to take it back to when they are in the touch football game with the family after the wedding. And Owen Wilson turns to Vince Vaughn and says, I mean, geez, you've been milking this enough. Now, every time I turn around, you're on your ass. And so that to me is Zach Charbonnet, because every carry he gets, there's going to be a defender or 2 or 3 or 4 on their ass when he finishes that run. And so he sort of crashed the UCLA party from Michigan as a transfer, and we're so thrilled to have him. He's gone from crashing the party to being the life of the party, and he's put guys on his ass ever since.
Love it to death, man. And to quote the great Vince Vaughn, is she still in the house? Is she upstairs? Where's she at? It is one of the greatest movies of all time. A lot more quotes we could have made. We're either going to be pimps from Oakland or cowboys from Oklahoma throughout the rest of this podcast. Phenomenal Wedding Crashers there. But I wanted to put a movie that has great ties to Los Angeles for this guy, because this guy, you know, went to Oaks Christian, local product, did go to Michigan, but came back. And very similar to this actor, you can know nothing about cinema, you can know nothing about football, but when you watch them play, they are easily, you go, that's the best guy in the field. I don't know anything about the sport. And for me, that is Denzel Washington in Training Day going, King Kong ain't got shit on me.
I love it.
It's the whole. Defenders are frightened of this guy in a way that I haven't seen anything. And the way that I look at Charbonnet is the same way that I look at Denzel in that scene. He's surrounded by 50 gang members at the end of the movie. They're finally getting him. And Denzel's like, you're going to have to drag me out of here before you leave. And that is the way Charbonnet runs the football. There's a ferocity there. But just like Denzel can play any role. He has the greatest. Charbonnet may have the best footwork I've seen from a running back that size. And Denzel is so versatile on the screen that I just thought it was a perfect combination, tying LA's Training Day with UCLA's, next Doak Walker Award winner and Zach Charbonnet. What do we think about that, man?
Oh, Thriller. So well done. I love it. And, you remember when they had Denzel on the NBA, the TNT show with Barkley and Kenny and Shaq, and they wanted him to reenact his line from Training Day. And it was so great to see him. He says, when I get done with you, you're going to be playing basketball in Pelican Hill. It was just absolutely amazing. Essentially, Will, what you're saying is that the Utah Utes and the Washington Huskies defenders looked the way Ethan Hawke looked on day one of his training day when he sort of got a sense of who Denzel was at his core. And I think that's so apt. I absolutely love that.
198 yards on the ground, and just a guy DTR is the Heisman, favorite from the team. We've called this before. Charbonnet's the MVP of this team. That the passing, the play action does not work unless if you have a running back that puts the fear of God in the opponents week in and week out. 7.1 yards a carry, highest rated running back in the Pac-12. What more could you ask for from our guy Charbonnet? Now, Madman, we're going to stay for our last offensive guy. And I had a couple of different quotes I was thinking about with this guy. But I got to say, I'm really pleased with the one we came up with. And it'll strike the funny bone in anyone that loves comedies. Jake Bobo, where do you go with this wide receiver transfer that has been tearing up the world for UCLA?
So for me, Will, I love this one. And for me, more than even a line, it was more a fun character. And one of the great movies of my youth that was just a feel-good Disney movie that I've always loved, and it's fitting because it's football related, was Little Giants. And what I love about Little Giants was all of the different characters, and I remember how John Madden and Emmitt Smith and Bruce Smith and all those guys came to sort of inspire the Little Giants when they were playing the Cowboys. But there was one character on the Little Giants who I really loved, who was an unsung hero, and that was Hot Hands. And Jake Bobo is UCLA's Hot Hands and Hot Hands could only catch the ball when they put so much sticky on him where when he clapped, he couldn't even undo his hands and he was stuck. But he had a mental block with the football and he could only catch toilet paper. And so he had to visualize the toilet paper in the air as a football. And he finally caught that. And so Jake Bobo to me is the best version of Hot Hands, where he doesn't need the sticky and he doesn't need to visualize the toilet paper, but he makes just all of the big catches when the Little Giants upset the mighty Cowboys as the mighty Bruins are upsetting the Washingtons and the Utahs and hopefully the Oregons.
I love it. Wow. A great reference, to say the least. And I feel like when we go to Senior Bowl and we're talking to Jake Bobo, we're going to be like, how'd you get those hands right, man? What's been going on with that? I was catching toilet paper from a young age. That's what he's going to say to us, and we're going to lose it at the broadcast booth. It's going to be an awesome moment. Hey, DTR, Charbonnet, Bobo, all probably at the Senior Bowl this year. So UCLA fans, we're going to have a fun draft season talking about those guys. I could have gone in a couple different directions here, but I also went comedy as well. And we knew he was good, but he kind of came out in a way, and just the big catches he makes, the oohs, the ahs. It was very just beautiful to watch at times. A taller guy like that be able to be so nimble and, adept with his route running, to say the least. And the quote that I got, because Zoolander's one of my favorite, is that Hansel is so hot right now. And when you see him out on the football field, man, just the size and the ability and the way to get in the red zone. I mean, what he did against Washington was impressive, but Utah, some of the best corners in the country over there. Clark Phillips is likely a first rounder. That secondary, maybe the strongest unit in the Pac-12. He was dicing them up in the hardest place to do so in the red zone. Had 2 touchdowns, dropped a third one. He should have had 5 touchdowns in the last 2 games coming out. The Washington game was his magnum opus, if you will. 6 catches, 142 yards. 4 of those catches came on third downs, and the other 2 were touchdowns that really, he was the star of the show that night. I know the DTR was fantastic, but Jake Bobo had a performance that will live, a long, long life at the Rose Bowl. So what I came up with was that Hansel's so hot right now because this is the hottest guy on the field right now for UCLA, and I'm loving every second of it, Madman.
No doubt, Thriller. Such a great one. And, he's such a pillar for this team. And he's the ultimate security blanket for DTR. And, it's almost, you said it best with Zoolander. You could even go Nelly. It's getting hot in here, there's a lot of different versions with Bobo. He kind of also looks a little bit like a movie star. He's got a little bit of, rest in peace, Paul Walker to him. He's got kind of those movie star good looks. And so it's very fitting that you also picked a movie where it was about male models. And now those 2 male models maybe shouldn't have been male models, but Jake Bobo could be a male model. So I love how it all ties together as only Will the Thrill Dirty Chidecker can do.
Hey, man, if football, if his heart's not in football, hit up the Mark Harmon School of Acting,
yes, sir.
Former UCLA grade quarterback there. I'm going to have to go on first on this one because I am scared you're going to take this one. And it's the Murphy twins.
Yes.
And this is actually, if you're talking about the best movies made of the last decade, the 2010s, I think this is the movie I would choose first. And I love David Fincher as a director. I love Sorkin's writing even better. And the thing that always stood out from this movie is the scene where the Winklevoss twins, Armie Hammer's character goes, I'm 6 foot, and I'm amending this for the Murphy twins because they say in the movie I'm 6'2", 220 pounds, and there's 2 of me.
Right.
And Murphy, I'm 6'3", 262 pounds, and there's 2 of me. The Murphy twins, we thought they were going to be great the second they stepped on campus. That has almost been an understatement. As of October 6th, Madman, Grayson Murphy had the second highest pass rush win rates of all Power 5 schools. That is a dominant stat. He was winning 32.5% of his reps coming off the edge. Oh, and Gabriel, his brother, the second highest defensive end ranked in the Pac-12, only to Latu, our guy. Murphy twins. I had to come in with the Winklevoss quotes. Are you a Social Network fan, my man?
Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? With my FU flip-flops, you pretentious D-bag, you stole my line. You absolutely stole my line. I love it. You delivered it so beautifully, and it's so true. There's something so fun about the twins, right? We've had twins at different stages in entertainment. We had Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger. We had, the Bubblegum twins. We've had the twins, in 22 Jump Street. There's all of these great twins that we've had, but I think you nailed it. And I think, on the football side, Thriller, having these 2 with Latu, that's going to be the key moving forward in this game against Oregon with the mobility of Bo Nix and the ability to sort of contain him in the pocket, collapse that pocket, and really make him feel a pass rush to make him one-dimensional is going to be absolutely essential. And also looking ahead a little bit to that glorious crosstown rivalry game with USC, I really believe the Murphy twins and the aforementioned Latu are going to be that difference that enables UCLA to win that crosstown rivalry game. So all jokes aside, they are absolutely incredible athletes. You talked about the win rates. You've talked about the sacks, but they're absolutely pivotal to this defensive identity because the 3 of them, along with Carl Jones Jr., allow you to do things in terms of pass rush and also allow you to do things in terms of cover very nimble, fast running backs and try and take some dimensions out of opposing teams' offenses.
And this is the key matchup I'm going to be watching for at Oregon because UCLA has its best defensive line it's had in 10 plus years. And The Oregon offensive line, they've only allowed 1 sack all year. This is a very, very dominant front 5 that they have. So that is the matchup. If UCLA can win that battle, at least get in there 3 or 4 times and make it difficult for Bo Nix at least a pressure, make him throw an air pass. I think that's going to be the separator in this game. So if UCLA's front four can really bring the pressure, I like our chances up and outs in. Was that your quote, by the way, for the
Willard, that was my quote, but I got a backup just in case. You got to have a backup. You can never, you need to travel with a backup quarterback, so I got a backup line. And I'm going to redact this one a little bit. And it's a movie you and I have kind of quoted in the past ever so often, but I got to go back to Rocky IV. And I got to go back to the incredible fight between Sylvester Stallone and Ivan Drago, and that first round where Drago is just pummeling him. And you think, oh my God, is he going to die in the ring the way Apollo Creed did earlier in the movie? And can he just survive this round? And he finally staggers his way into the corner. And his great trainer, who was Apollo's trainer, says, with the Q-tip and trying to clean him up, he's all bloodied. He's like, what's going on over there? Tell me, what's going on? He's like, I see 3 of them out there. And he says, hit the one in the middle. Right. Hit the one in the middle. And that's how opposing quarterbacks in the Pac-12 feel about these Murphy twins. They see 2 of them out there and they're getting hit, not just by the one in the middle. They're getting hit by both of them. And they're feeling that pain over the course of a game. And there's going to be more quarterbacks to feel that pain over the course of the next 6 weeks.
Yeah, man. I knew you were going to have that quote. So it's just so refreshing to hear that we're similarly aligned like that when it came to the Murphy twins. The last one I got, and I will give you this one to start. Latu. And I don't think this story is being talked about enough. I think this is the story of the college football season. You can call me biased. You can call me whatever. This guy had not played a down of football since 2019. This is pre-pandemic things. This is before, this was Ja Morant's rookie year. This guy was playing. I mean, it's been a very, very long time. Hasn't played. 2020 comes, can't play. 2021 can't. Medically retired. 5 to 7 doctors rule him out. And he comes back, gets the clearance, and he is making the most of it. Tied for second in the entire country in sacks. This story is not being talked about enough. Latu, just a story that I feel like can become a Disney movie. We're in Hollywood. We just got to write the script. Let me know what you think about Latu, because I've got a great quote for this one, and it's a motivational one that I think a lot of people can use as well.
I love that, Will. And his story is so incredible. And you could have gone so many different ways with this, right? I could have gone Kevin Costner with some movies there. I could have, gone kind of Field of Dreams. I could have done a couple of different things. I could have gone $1 Million Baby, which actually is a movie, feels most like Latu. We could have gone a number of different directions in terms of inspiration. We could have gone with Wahlberg and We Are Marshall. Could have gone with Remember the Titans. There's so many elements to Latu's story. But I'm going to keep it a little light because I know you're going to go with the intrinsic, faith and sort of power there. And I got to go back to a funny one, Will, to compliment you a little bit. One of my all-time favorites in the 90s, it was Rush Hour with Jackie Chan and with Chris Tucker, of course. And it was just the simplicity of the opening line, where the guy is in the corner. He says, no accident, just rush hour. And I think of Latu when I think of that line because of all of the things that he's been through. It's no accident that he's here. It's no accident that he is arguably the best player on this UCLA defense. And every time he steps on the field, it is rush hour. He is rushing that quarterback and creating nightmare scenarios for opposing backfields. So no accident, just rush hour.
And gotta love it, man. Whoever paired Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan just needs a Lifetime Achievement Award for, a trio of movies. I cannot even tell you how many times I watched Rush Hour growing up as a kid. It was always on TNT. It was always on TBS. You would catch that at all hours of the day. So I do.
That one at Money Talks, Will. That was the other Chris Tucker one that was always on TNT, TBS. That was always great.
Yeah, we had the Lifetime Achievement Award for, the guy who paired them. Chris Tucker owes TBS some money right now. Let's be honest. They were pumping his movies like nobody's business, man. So gotta love Chris Tucker on that. And mine is a football movie. And I do not like Notre Dame, and it's not my team, but the movie Rudy always gets me just because that is the embodiment of what makes sports great. It's the underdog stories where, against all odds, everything's stacked against you. You come out and you prove everybody wrong. And I get teary-eyed watching those movies, and I can tell you Notre Dame is like my least favorite university in the world. But the line that I got from that is sometimes a winner is a dreamer who just won't quit. And that is a story of perseverance. I mean, trust me, if I had 5 or 7 doctors telling me in football, contact sport, you can, any given play, you can become paralyzed. It's the dark part of the sport, if I'm being honest. If I had 5 to 7 doctors telling me I'd never play a snap again, I think everyone would have just been like, hey, man, like, we totally understand. No one's going to, badger you for not playing. This is a serious thing. He defies the odds, comes back 2 years later, when we've even forgot about his 5-star ranking, this lofty recruit that came to Washington and has made plays and just would not quit. So for me, that is the story. He sought out other medical advice, other medical things, and he's on the field, and it's not like he's just playing. I mean, that's even a great story. If he just plays again, he is tearing up the world of college football, and there's a chance this guy's the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, it's one of the best stories we've had as a fan of UCLA. So,
no doubt. I love how you picked it. The other line that really gets me, that's also from Rudy, that's very apt for this scenario with Latu from a figurative sense, is when the janitor and the guy who's maintaining the field, right? Like that great character, and he turns to Rudy in his Letterman's jacket, and he's like, "You're 5'0", 100, and you expect to compete with the greatest athletes in the world." And obviously, Latu has all of the physical gifts, but at some point mentally, when you hear all the things that you hear from those doctors, you're starting from ground zero mentally. So in many ways, mentally, at some point, Latu was 5'0" and was 100 and had to climb this ladder. And for him to be able to do that, and how beautifully you said, not just play, but be the centerpiece of not just this UCLA defense, but possibly the conference's defense as their defensive player of the year. There are not enough words to talk about how inspiring Latu Latu is, has been, and will continue to be.
And I love it, man. This was such a fun exercise to do, man. Breaking down movie quotes. We got Good Will Hunting all the way to Will Ferrell, Talladega Nights. So we got just a wide variety of great things. And to leave off on one more quote, hope is a good thing, UCLA fans. To quote the great Andy Dufresne from the Shawshank Redemption. I know a lot of people are going, UCLA, it's going to end badly somehow. No, this is the year, guys. This is the year. Stay positive, stay focused. Good things are coming to the Bruins this year. And it's just a pleasure to be able to do this week in and week out with you, Mad. So Bruin Bible, we got another one coming this week, Oregon preview. We might even be doing a live show. Barney's Beanery, we might be down there. I've heard Rocco's. We had such great responses from the people asking what the UCLA bar was. The Inland Empire UCLA Alumni Association actually wanted us to come down there. So big shout out to them if you have any listeners. But man, Rocco's or Barney's Beanery, we'll keep you guys posted. Hope is a good thing, guys. We will see you on about Thursday night. Bruin Bible, we are officially